Wonderful. Thank you. And a big thanks to you and the LIANZA office for your support and work behind the scenes to make this happen. Kia ora koutou, thank you for joining us for this webinar brought to you by the LIANZA Standing Committee on Climate Action and Love Food, Hate Waste New Zealand. Ko Sarah Jordan toko ingoa, and I work here at Ngā Puna Mā Taronga o Te Awa Kairangi ki Uta Upper Hutt Libraries. As Angie said, I am also the new chair of the Climate Action Committee. The wonderful Alexis McCullough recently stepped down from the role, but we are very grateful that she has stayed on as a committee member and will continue to be a wonderful contributor to the team. Today, we are delighted to have Sophie Walland from Love Food, Hate Waste New Zealand joining us to talk about how food waste fuels climate change, how Love Food, Hate Waste New Zealand is helping Kiwis reduce waste, and what we as librarians can do in our spaces to take action and inspire our communities. We are very grateful to Sophie for allowing the session to be recorded as well, and we will have time for Q&A at the end. So please do either hold on to your questions or pop them in the chat, and we'll come back to that later. Welcome, Sophie. Thanks again for joining us. Over to you.
Thank you, Sarah, and yeah, kia ora, everyone. I'm delighted to be here. I was really was quite chuffed to get an email from Sarah a few months ago, I suppose, off the back of taking part in our Beat the Bin challenge in August. And I said to her, I'm a real lover of libraries. I worked in the UK for a number of years and very closely alongside the Wellcome Library over there, and I just think they're a fantastic beacon of or resource for the community to learn in really fun and interesting ways. So really grateful to be here, and hopefully you'll come away with some that you've learned something and hopefully some inspiration to take some action. So I'm just going to quickly share my screen. And I've got a fair few slides to get through, but I will try and speak nice and slowly. I can, all full transparency, I can speak very quickly when I'm nervous. So please do feel free to let me know if I'm flying through things quickly. But yeah, as Sarah said, we're here to talk a little bit about why food waste matters, give you a bit of insight into the scale of the food waste issue in New Zealand, what we're doing to help Kiwis reduce the food waste in the home, and how you guys can get involved. So first up, I guess food waste is a global and local problem, and it has significant environmental, social, and economic impacts. And it's the so-called kind of iceberg problem, with few impacts that are clear to see and many other larger ones hidden beneath the surface. So at the tip of the iceberg are the sort of direct financial and environmental harms associated with wasting food. This year's 2025 New Zealand Food Waste Survey from Rabobank and Kiwi Harvest showed that the average household is wasting around $1,300 of food every year. And that's just in the household alone. But when you think about businesses wasting food, there is also a major cost. So not just the cost of the food they bought and then didn't use, but they have to pay disposal fees to cover the landfill levy and the cost of waste collection and, of course, landfill operation. What many don't realize is that when food ends up in our landfills, it produces leachate and releases methane and other greenhouse gases as it rots. And even with gas capture systems in place, an estimated 0.6 tons of carbon dioxide equivalent is released into the atmosphere per ton of food landfilled. Beneath the surface, it gets worse. When food is wasted, all the water, energy, labor, land, and other resources that go into food production are wasted as well. For example, it takes around 1,800 litres of water to produce just 1 kilogram of rice. And I'm sure at some point we've all been guilty, including myself, of wasting that leftover rice from last night's dinner. On top of the resources, we should also consider the emissions associated with the production of food that's wasted and now of no benefit. And wasting food means we fail to embrace a circular approach to resource management, and we really miss a chance to nourish people in a country where 1 in 4 children live in households experiencing food insecurity. With Te Ao Māori worldviews highlighting the importance of sustainable relationships with the environment, wasting food also fails to honour New Zealand's deep-rooted knowledge of the importance of kaitiakitanga and intergenerational environmental stewardship. Sadly, the scale of this issue is huge, and it's not just here in New Zealand. So globally, an estimated 2.5 billion tonnes of food is wasted from farm to fork each year. And that's about 40% of all food that's produced. And if food waste were a country, it would be the third largest contributor to global emissions behind China and the USA. Now, as I mentioned earlier, at household level, it's costing us big time, so about $1,300 per household. But as a nation, that adds up to a massive $3 billion, and that's just Kiwi households alone. That's around 3 solid trolleys worth of food, or enough to feed the entire population of Dunedin for 3 years. So a phenomenal financial impact. The great news is, though, reducing food waste at home is one of the easiest ways to save money, but it's also one of the most effective actions individuals can take to limit climate change. And that's where we come in. So for some of you that may not have heard of Love Food Hate Waste, Love Food Hate Waste was launched in the UK by WRAP, the Waste and Resources Action Program, which is a global climate charity action group. And it was launched back in 2007, and since then it's grown into an international network across 8 countries. New Zealand joined the network in 2016. It was proudly brought to New Zealand by Wastemans, and that's where the campaign sits. So I'm employed by Wastemans. Wastemans are the largest membership organisation for the waste sector here in New Zealand. But we're also proudly supported by the Ministry for the Environment. So we're currently in a 3-year funding cycle where we got a bit of a boost so we could run some serious campaigns, and hopefully you've seen some of them. But since the very beginning, we're really delighted to be supported by 52 councils across the country, which has really enabled us to provide households with practical, achievable ways to reduce food waste in their home for nearly 10 years. So with our current funding, we're currently running 2 minor and 1 major campaigns a year to raise awareness of the issue of food waste and really inspire action. The latest research from MFE showed that 1 in 4 Kiwis are now aware of Love Food Hate Waste, and we've grown our subscriber base to over 22,000 people. So that means they receive monthly tips and tricks and resources to reduce their food waste at home. We have thousands of additional followers online where they get regular content to, again, inspire and drive action. But it's not just around raising awareness. Our campaigns, along with our kind of always-on content across social media, are designed to go further. So we're focused on supporting long-term behaviour change by giving people the tools they need to take action in their own homes. So from practical guides and quizzes to simple hacks and meal planners and resources for whānau, everything we create is about helping people build confidence to make small changes that stick and reduce food waste for good. And as I said, with the support of our council partners, we are also able to bring the campaign to life in local communities. So through events and workshops and hands-on activities, these local activations help us connect with people, locally, and the message and sort of get across our messages in a way that feels relevant to their everyday lives. Because it's when people see food waste solutions in action in their neighborhoods, at their market, at their local library, at festivals or in the workplace, or in other community spaces, the message becomes more memorable, more meaningful, and much more likely to drive real change. And while our activations sort of deepen engagement on the ground, it's really important that we maintain a strong media presence and really keep food waste front and centre nationwide. So we have a dedicated comms and marketing manager who has an amazing background in PR. So has managed to get regular coverage across TV, radio, and print, and online platforms. And it's really about making sure that conversation stays alive, reaching new audiences, reinforcing key messages, and reminding Kiwis that reducing food waste isn't something that is something that we can all do every day. Because the reality is that changing behaviour is really challenging. It definitely doesn't happen overnight. And sustained impact takes time, reinforcement, and patience. People need multiple touch points. They need to see it, hear it, and have simple ways to take action over and over again. And that's exactly where libraries can make such a powerful difference. Your spaces are trusted, accessible, and community-centred. And when food waste messages show up in libraries through displays or workshops or story times, or they have resources that they can kind of take home, they reach people at the right moment in their everyday lives. And you guys can really help turn awareness into real and lasting action. So together we can make those small changes stick across our communities, and really drive the behaviours we want to see. And we are seeing some fantastic results. That awareness does matter. In the 2024 survey, we saw, people that reduced their food waste cited it was because they'd become more aware of the issue of food waste and its impact. So that means, every display you set up or every resource you guys share, every conversation you have at the checkout desk or, at a story time, it all definitely adds up. Awareness isn't passive. It's the spark that often prompts people to rethink habits or just try something new and start reducing food waste at home. So by helping keeping food waste in the public consciousness, you guys can directly contribute to behaviour change across Aotearoa. And we are seeing some positive results. So the estimated rate of food waste has fallen to 10.9%. It remains lower among rural residents and baby boomers, but it is higher with Gen Z and Gen Y. And as I said earlier, while we are seeing we are seeing a reduction in food waste, it's still, adding up massively financially. So $1,300 per household and around $3 billion nationwide. The key reasons for food waste remain largely unchanged. Again, this year's Riverbank Kiwi Harvest Survey shows food going off before you can finish it or before it's used by or best before date top the list, followed by insufficient planning, or food not being quite as good as you expected when you purchased it, or just not being able to finish what's on your plate. Now, what's really interesting is MFE, or Ministry for the Environment, ran their annual monitoring survey at a very similar time to the Rabobank Kiwi Harvest Survey. It was a very similar sample size, and again, a representative sample of New Zealand. But yeah, even though it took place more or less at the same time, similar sample sizes, their key drivers came out slightly different. Now, their questions aren't exactly the same, so we weren't expecting to see, exact results matching. But when we take a step back from the detail at question level, both surveys actually told a very similar story. So overall, food waste is coming down. Overall, awareness of food waste being an issue and the environmental impact is going up. But the other underlying themes are consistent. So both surveys highlight the same pattern with younger generations, so Gen Z and Gen Y, really needing more support. So they're consistently the groups that show lower confidence and more challenges around managing, planning, and storing their food. So rather than kind of treating these two separate surveys or as completely different data sets, the value for us is in what they jointly tell us, and the precise drivers or shifts, the precise drivers shift a little depending on how you ask a question, but their overall trend does not. So as I say, there's those Gen Z and Gen Y that really need more support. Like rather the consistently showing that lack of proper food storage knowledge and uncertainty around handling leftovers are a common cause of food waste among those groups. And a high number of Gen Z individuals struggle with preparing food correctly, leading to uneaten meals and improper storage. Both surveys also showed that work is really still needed to keep food waste out of landfill. So it's not just we want to prevent food waste in the first place, but there always will be a certain amount. But what we don't want people to do is put it into their general waste or their general rubbish bin. We really also want to drive or support other campaigns that promote composting, worm farming, or the use of a curbside food scraps collection service. We also saw that less than 20% of Kiwis think enough is being done to educate on food waste. So again, another reason to keep campaigns like Love Food, Hate Waste alive, but also to support those community activations and also to support you guys in creating displays or events within library spaces. So what can you guys do to help? Well, we would love you all to join us next March as part of our major campaign and as part of International Food Waste Action Week. We'd love to ask you to become a leftover legend with us. So Leftover Legends is our major campaign. It'll kick off on the 2nd of March and it'll run right throughout the whole month. And week 2 of March is International Food Waste Action Week. So we'd love to see you all on board. And I'm excited to give you guys a little sneak peek of this campaign. We did launch our toolkit to our council partners last week, and the public toolkit will be made available on the 20th, so in a couple of days' time. So Sarah and the team will make sure you guys get a copy of that, which can enable you to take part if you're able. Now, why did we pick leftovers? We saw before from that Ministry for the Environment survey, not eating leftovers is one of the main reasons for household food waste. But the reality is people also say, or 96% of people say they also eat their leftovers sometimes or always. And that shows us that people start with very good intentions. We're quite good here in New Zealand and putting them in a container and putting them in our fridge or popping them in the freezer. But we fall short in the follow through. So often leftovers are saved and then forgotten. They're left to expire at the back of the fridge, or they're neglected because people aren't quite sure how to repurpose them. Or they keep them so long that safety element comes into play. So fear of it not being safe, people especially the younger generations, tend to err on the side of caution, and they'll throw it away without giving it a check. And this is what we call the intention gap. So because leftovers are saved out of habit without a clear intention, they're sort of saved as an automatic habit or with vague intentions, sort of like I'll eat it later. That leads to them being forgotten, and food inevitably becomes delayed food waste. Leftovers inevitably become delayed food waste. So it's a big challenge to tackle, but we're confident we've got a very fun and hopefully inspiring solution. And we think that the answer lies in celebrating our leftovers when they're at their best and really driving the messaging. Yesterday's dinner can become today's lunch. So we have a legendary call to action this year, or next March, and we'd love you to take part and join the Leftover Legends Challenge with us. So the Leftover Legends Challenge is a nationwide competition to crown New Zealand's ultimate leftover legends. We're recruiting hundreds of businesses, community groups, university climate action groups across the country to take part, with the ultimate goal of saving 25,000 plates of food from going to landfill. Every year, New Zealanders throw away around 12,000 tonnes of leftovers in their rubbish bin. That doesn't include composting or worm farms or curbside caddies. So it's a phenomenal amount of leftovers being tossed out. We know that because in 2018 we did bin audits where we literally took people's curbside bags, separated all the food out, and measured everything. And yeah, leftovers were again in that top 5 items. So it's going to be really simple to take part. This image on screen is just a mock-up, guys. The real deal web page is not quite ready yet. It'll be ready for March, but it'll look much slicker than that. But it'll be really easy to take part. You simply scan the QR code or just jump onto our website, where you'll be able to upload a plate of the leftovers you've saved and you're about to enjoy. Every plate logged is a chance to win the legendary prize of groceries for a year. But it also triggers an email with tips and tricks direct to your inbox. So again, we're hoping to drive the behaviors we want to see, giving them lots of inspiration on how to transform leftovers, giving them the information on how to make sure they're keeping their leftovers safe and kind of removing that barrier of safety fears. Yeah, lots of fabulous tips and tricks and inspiration to come back again and log more leftovers throughout the month. So we're hoping we'll get people logging regularly throughout the whole month, again, to help form a habit and normalize taking leftovers for lunch as something that just becomes an embedded habit that they carry on beyond the campaign. And would love for you guys to help us, drive participation, but also take part yourselves. So just to give you a bit of an idea of the scale of the campaign, we're working at the moment to onboard some key strategic partners. That helps us kind of reach new audiences, and we have a very modest budget, so partnering with key strategic partners just means that we can reach more people in a really cost-effective way. But we're also, as I said before, really focusing on workplaces. So framing it to businesses as a purpose-led staff engagement activity that can speak directly to their sustainability goals. And we're really hoping to get hundreds of organisations and every library across New Zealand taking part. Every participating business or organisation will get an impact report if they sign up for it. So we can also show them the plates that they saved as an organisation, and with some really cool stats around the equivalent emissions that they've saved as well. So again, fabulous reason for taking part. We also have amazing campaign activity, from billboards and digital advertising to lots of fabulous content on social media channels. We're also partnering with influencers. We know that influencers are a really powerful way for us to kind of build social norms, to demonstrate that it's a really normal and easy and fun thing to do. We also have got a fabulous radio partnership with My FM, where the announcers will be sort of checking each other's leftover lunches, and perhaps giving each other tips and tricks on how they can, pimp their lunch a little bit better. And our Juno, our fabulous comms and marketing manager, will be working hard to drive that buzz in the media. So getting lots of fabulous coverage. Creatively, this is what it's looking like. So you saw the nurse. We've got three key characters. So a nurse, a office worker, or it could be a librarian, or it could be a teacher. It could be just a generic sort of office environment. But we've also got a construction worker, because it's everyone that we want to hit, not just, those sort of corporate entities. We do want every organisation across New Zealand to be able to take part and see themselves in the campaign. We also have some street posters, again, to kind of drive that awareness and participation. And with the help of our council partners and everyone in this room, we're hoping to have at least 150 local displays. So on screen, you can see some of the fabulous displays from libraries this year, or March this year, as part of our meal planning campaign. So yeah, we'll make sure you have a link to sign up to receive a display kit. If your council is a Love Food Hate Waste participating council, they may also order display kits on your behalf. But we'll do a cross-check so we don't double up. So I would encourage you all to, if you're keen to take part, to make sure you order them. The reality is some of our council, waste minimisation officers, they wear about 20 hats and they're really, really busy. So some of them aren't able to order kits and get them out to every single library. That's really why I'm here today, to kind of show you guys how you can work with us directly to make a difference. So yeah, we'd love for you to set up displays in your public spaces, but we'd also encourage you to, get your whole team on board. So we do have kind of workplace display kits as well, just to make logging your leftovers in your local, or sorry, in your kitchenette out the back a little bit easier. So, as I say, we'd love for you to take part this March. If you sign up for the toolkit, basically that has everything you need to access ready-to-go resources. So that, as well as our free public display kits to kind of help drive awareness and participation to do those physical displays in the library space. But there's also the link there to order the free workplace kits to make back of house logging a little bit easier, and also to get that impact report. In that toolkit, there's also a range of other resources that you might be interested in, which I'll talk about a little in a little bit. But yeah, please do consider signing up to receive that toolkit. We've designed it in a way that anyone can use it. You don't have to be a food waste specialist. You don't have to be a waste minimisation specialist. We're hoping it's really accessible and lots of fabulous content to inspire your displays. So, we've talked a little bit about public display, but again, you've all got staff in your library. So in that toolkit is a staff engagement pack, and again, it gives you everything you need to take part. So there's sort of a staff engagement plan, I should say, with communications for before, during, and after. So hopefully, it's just a matter of cutting and pasting it into an email or into your Slack channels. There's a free webinar that you're welcome to take part of during Food Waste Action Week. There's details on how to run a leftovers lunch within your workplace. But there's lots of other visual assets there that could be suitable for your intranet or your Teams or Slack channels, as well as I said before, those workplace kits to make logging easy, and that impact report. And in that toolkit as well is lots of amazing social media assets. So I love a good library Facebook page, I must admit, or Instagram page. Some of the funniest content I've seen is on a library channel. So if you do have a library social media channel, again, there's ready to go assets that you're welcome to use. And really kind of drive engagement or conversation within your local community. So I guess that just leaves me with one final question, which is, are you a leftover legend? And are you happy or willing to join us in March to take part? And that's me. I flew through that, Sarah. I was like, I'll be at least 40 minutes. But I'm 10 minutes down, so lots of time for Q&A, everyone. But yeah, hopefully you learned something today. I hope our campaigns have inspired you to think a little bit about food waste differently, or to take part in March next year. We'd really love to have you all on board.
What a wonderful presentation. Thank you so much, Sophie. A great call to action for us all. And I hope that there's going to be a real buzz about leftovers happening around libraries in the lead up to March. And really good point that we can have those conversations with our colleagues as much as we can with the public and start that ripple effect as well. Angie is going to make sure that we get some info out to everyone around how to sign up so that they're on your mailing list. So thanks, Angie. And the committee, of course, always love to hear from people about what they're doing in their spaces. So if you are doing some cool displays in your libraries, please do email us, climate@lianza.org.nz. We'll share those with Sophie as well. And of course, it doesn't have to just be around food waste. Anything else that you're doing in that climate space, we want to see. And of course, with this presentation being recorded, if you found it useful, please do share with your colleagues as well. So now we've got some time for questions. We did have something come up in the chat, Sophie, about composting. I was just wondering what Love Food, Hate Waste's views on composting are.
Well, I mean, we're very supportive of composting, but I guess we're one step up on the waste hierarchy. So we're really wanting people to prevent food waste in the first place. So, really planning their meals, getting the right portions, eating their leftovers, storing food correctly. But there's always going to be unavoidable food waste, right? So, yeah, we definitely are supportive of composting. There's some really good resources on our website around composting. In fact, weirdly, for a while there, our composting page was one of the most visited web pages on the whole website. But yeah, we do definitely support it, and there's lots of fabulous initiatives run often through the council. But yeah, we don't run composting workshops ourselves, but we do promote. If anyone is running a composting workshop, we're happy to promote it on our website or through our channels. Because yeah, anything that prevents food waste from going in that rubbish bin and being sent to landfill is a win for us. I would add though, it's really interesting when we do a lot of our research, we often get people saying, "Oh, I don't waste any food. I compost it." And then when we sort of dig a bit deeper, so quite often we'll do a survey and then we do follow-up interviews with some of those people and say, so what do you do with your vegetable peels, or what do you do with avoidable food waste items? And often they'll say, "Oh, I put it in my compost bin." So they don't see it as food waste. And we'd love to sometimes we love to challenge that and just sort of say, well, you are reducing food waste from going to landfill, but that food was grown or produced for human consumption, and you're just creating really expensive compost some of the time. Or really expensive worm food. So yeah, we're definitely supporters, but we'd love to challenge if you're an active composter. We'd love you to sort of take the time to think about what avoidable food waste went into your compost bin this week and how you could prevent that in coming weeks.
Yeah, absolutely agree. I'm a big fan of compost, but let's avoid stuff getting there as well. Cool. We've got another question here. Catherine says, I understand there's a webinar on Thursday featuring the food waste survey insights. Are we able to share a link for that one?
Yes, yeah, definitely. So that will dive a little bit deeper into some of the data I showed today. So we're really fortunate that Rabobank run an annual, well, biannual at least food waste survey, and they collaborate with us on some of the questions so we can make sure we're getting consistency, and they give us some early sight, so some of that data really does drive the campaigns we run. So yeah, they're going to be kind of sharing a little bit more about that. So yeah, I'll throw the link in the chat. But otherwise, yeah, you can head to the Love Food Hate Waste website, go to events, and it's also in there.
Fabulous. We've got someone here saying that they've got an academic library that they're going to be using this in, so that's wonderful. We've got another question here about favorite recipe books for using up leftovers. Are there any good ones you know of, Sophie?
Oh gosh, that's putting me on the spot.
No pressure.
I'll be honest, guys. I'm actually married to an Italian who's also a chef. So I'm very fortunate in that I have someone in my household that does the lion's share of cooking. But there are some fabulous cookbooks out there, but I'd say the Love Food Hate Waste website is another amazing resource. So there's an entire recipe section where you can type in the item that you need to use up, and recipes will come up. But there's also a leftovers page, and again, there's sort of some carousels of top ways to use up bits and bobs. So when you've got like lots of little bits, or there's kind of a series of, 8 ways with rice, or 8 ways with bread, or I forget the exact ones. But there's also some fabulous series are also around, how to use leftovers to create pies or quiches, or again, like it's sort of themed content, so easily accessible. But another real trend that we've seen come up, which again we're happy to endorse, is the use of AI, especially with younger generations. They're so that they're sort of just more drawn to using AI. So again, we've had some really fabulous results where you've just jumped on ChatGPT or something like that, popped in the items that you need to use up, and again, it can direct you to an array of fabulous recipes.
Oh, wow. I was just going to say, it sounds like the website's a wonderful resource and would be better than AI, because I've heard some horror stories about things like that. But that's wonderful if it does work. Maybe just have a read over the recipe before you start making it, or whichever. But
Definitely,
no, that
definitely.
sounds like a
Yeah.
wonderful resource that you've got on the website, and a really good one for us to all know about. That's awesome. We've
I just add to that, alongside there's a recipe section, but there's also A to Z storage guide.
got
So often, you might have something knocking about in your fridge, and you just don't have a chance to use it, or you don't have a recipe planned. And if you're worried that it might go off, then again, you can jump on there and just check that you're storing it correctly. Or I suppose the other top tip is to use your freezer. A lot of people forget that freezing things is a fabulous way to give extra life, especially when it comes to meat and fish. Or things that are approaching their use by date. If you freeze it before that use by date, it's basically hitting pause. So you can have it last a good few months in the freezer. So long as once you've defrosted it, you eat it within 2 months. Sorry, 2 days. It's perfectly safe beyond that use by date if you've frozen it beforehand.
Yeah, storage makes all the difference. The damp tea towel in the fruit and veggie drawer has been a life changer for me. So I think that was something I picked up at a Love Food Hate Waste workshop. So that's
Oh,
a great
lovely.
one. We've got another question here about a library where they're in a community that does have curbside compost collection, but they're getting lots of negative feedback about how that's not working. Have you got any tips on some conversation points around that one?
It is a
Probably
tough
leaning towards
one.
compost
Yeah.
as well, but yeah.
Well, I'm assuming when they say it's not working, it's sort of like not working for that individual in terms of it's creating, like this drawing in flies, or it's sort of composting before it gets collected, that
Yeah,
sort of.
I don't know if that
issue.
person wants to so creates more issues, rubbish on the street.
Yeah, yeah. So, I mean, again, I suppose with any big rollout, there are always going to be some teething issues. But I think it just comes back, the core messaging you can go back to them is around, the impact of sending food to landfill. And, like a lot of people don't know when they send it to landfill, as it breaks down, it creates dangerous greenhouse gases that are having a negative impact on our planet. So yeah, that's something I would sort of reiterate to them. But the other option is to give them some alternative solutions. So helping them reduce their food waste by directing them to Love Food Hate Waste channels. Or encouraging them to look at if they've got the space to compost at home. And often many councils offer discounted composting bins, or in some cases composting facilities free of charge, or at least a workshop to get you started free of charge. So yeah, it's sort of, again, it's just trying to remind them or help them understand or appreciate the challenges, or the greater environmental impact. I suppose the other thing that springs to mind when you get the grumbles, we probably had similar grumbles when we started curbside recycling, plastic bottles blowing down the street after a bit of a storm. So it is, again, a little bit of a phase of just helping people, kind of, hearing them out, listening to their concerns, and then giving them some solutions and just reminding them that, even a little bit, even small steps do make a big collective impact if we're all giving it a go.
Yeah, absolutely. I think sometimes, especially in public libraries, it can sometimes be a venting point for people who
Yes.
may or may not realize that we are part of the council that has implemented such a thing as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, great point that we can, have those little conversations and change viewpoints, and maybe if we are doing some displays and things as well. And I think a big part of this, particularly from what I've seen in my library, as well as cost of living is such a big thing at the moment. So if we are raising the issue of saving money as much as we are around, the environmental impact, then sometimes that can make it sink in for people as well, right?
Definitely, definitely. And again, that Rabobank survey actually did show this year that saving money, by reducing their food waste is a key driver for people to take action. Interestingly, on the MFE survey, though, it was around kind of valuing our resources, valuing our food. So again, both of those messages are really powerful, when it comes to kind of getting people to take that first step.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. I don't know if there are any more questions. It looks like we might have hit the end in the chat, unless anyone is wanting to perhaps unmute and